I have some things I want to talk about. Now, I know a lot of this, I covered some of this actually in the live stream I did a couple weeks ago, but um, I didn't cover everything I wanted to because, you know, at the time my head was in a lot of places, and I was doing a live stream, I was talking to other people and everything. So my focus wasn't completely where it should have been, which is fine. It was for that it was good. Mm. But I wanted to go further and to talk about like, shit that's going on right now. I want to talk about the protests. I want to talk about everything right now. First things first, though, I do, one thing I've noticed, and it's kind of fucked up. It took so many people of color dying to get to this point. It's just, people are just now standing up and saying something, and while it's great, a lot of people are standing up and saying shit now. A lot of people are backing this up now, finally. This has been a thing for as long as anyone can remember, Police brutality is nothing new, you know. Ask anybody from the civil rights movement, ask anybody from before that. Hell, ask old school punk rockers from the 70s and 80s. You know, especially if they were people of color. But yeah, this has been an ongoing thing, and we live in a day and age of social media and cameras, inside your phone. So now, when we speak out on these things, we have proof now. We have receipts. We're able to show this now. It's like back 30, 40 years ago. It was basically all word against theirs. And most of the time people are going to take the cop's word. Because, oh, well, he's an officer of the law. Why is he going to lie? But now we're able to show you these motherfuckers are lying. So, I mean, and that helps with getting people to back us up now. Cops have been just violent towards people of color. They've been killing black people off. Let's not even get it. The whole thing with the natives is even a whole different fucking thing that needs to be addressed at some point. Somebody just needs to bring that up too, because there's a lot of native women just disappearing too. Look it up. It's like if you're brown, it gives them full authority, to just fuck with you. And a lot of people are seeing that now. Especially with the protests and everything, because people that were standing with the Black Lives Matter movement and everything, that was out there protesting, a lot of them got a taste what most of us have been dealing with for the longest time, I had a friend, she's white. I think she's white. Honestly, I'm saying she's white, but I'm not. She's white passing. We'll say she's white passing. I'm not 100% what her nationality is, because I've never really asked her. But she was at the protest out here in Indy, and she and a bunch of other people, a lot of them were Caucasian. They were formed like a sort of I've seen people do this in other protests too lately. There's like a human shield wall chain thing between like the cops and black protesters. They're like, everything. And same thing that happened here that happens in a few other states where they were doing this. They got tear gas and they got shot with rubber bullets for standing. For just kind of standing in between, that's... And it's kind of... It's fucked up, It really is, because police were losing their fucking mind during these protests, You had there's... Which, by the way, I want to like give a shout out to some of the YouTubers that's been actually talk about this lately, and it's kind of refreshing. I have more to say on that in a second, but I want to quote of. I mean, somebody was talking about it, and it's true. It's like, everybody's out there protesting police brutality, and the police respond by using police brutality. So it's like, what? There was, like I said, I mentioned it in the live stream, but there was like EMTs on the scene trying to help out protesters that were like, that were injured or whatever, and they were attacking and tear gassing them too, It was fucking insane, But a lot of people are kind of standing up with us, It's about time. So I'd say it's about fucking time. And you see, one thing that's kind of bugging me a bit though, because you're seeing a lot of businesses, okay, it's cool, radio stations and stuff for like, making messages, explaining that, like, saying like, they have the support of Black Lives Matter and everything, which is great, The station out here at WQRT 99.1, which a friend of mine, Joel, who does some shows with me here on my channel, he has a radio show on there too. But yeah, the station it issued this thing talking about how the support of Black Lives Matter is and recognizing white privilege and how they intend to do better and how they're in support of not just the protest, but technically they were in support of, like, the rights. I forgot the exact words they used, but it's basically, they were supporting the protests and just the anger like with it, because it was understandable, and it was a cool message. This station is cool anyway. It's a really good station, but a lot of other stations are doing that too, and I'm seeing some certain news shows kind of do that, but between that and I'm seeing companies, new advertisements and stuff doing it, and I think there's might be a fine line between actually coming out and saying, hey, you support something, and then on the other side of that is basically pandering. Yeah, like for instance, Band-Aid.
Band-Aid is now launching diversified bandages for different skin tones. They say it's to, quote, embrace the beauty of diverse skin. The company
I'm going to release, different flesh-colored types of Band-Aids, from the regular one we're just seeing all the way up to my skin tone and darker skin tones, That's all well and good, but I don't know, stuff like that just seems, to me, it just seems more like pandering, You know, all of a sudden, people who didn't give a shit before now using Black Lives Matter as sort of a way to give themselves more business or give themselves a pat on the back because they said, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter. It all feels like pandering, really. It all just seems so performative. And that's not cool. It's really not. You know, and there's you have some business that's been showing their asses because they made shitty statements. Let me see, what was like Dolls Kill was one of them. Creepsville was another one. They took a lot of flack because of stupid shit said, you know? I mean, if you're a business, you can be supportive without pandering, or you know, just be supportive. Don't say anything fucking stupid. It's like the Creepsville guys, like the main guy who runs it, said some really stupid shit about George Floyd, and people called him out on it, and everybody was canceling it, you know. They were just like, nope, not doing business with you anymore. You know, he went back and later was like, well, I didn't understand, like, you know, I'm not, you know, from America, so I didn't understand, you know, the whole, I guess, the whole thing. And it's like, how could you not? You know, how? That's not an excuse. There's people living in other countries right now who get an idea of what's going on. And how come you didn't? You live right here. You know. But speaking of people showing their ass, that's another thing I want to get in on. So, I even lamented on the fact that I'm in the live stream how, like, oh yeah, you know, a lot of people, you know, on my friends list have actually been, you know, pretty good, you know, and supportive and posting positive things in regards to the whole situation and everything. It's like, you know, I pretty much figured, hey, most of the shitty trolls and stuff like that, I've gotten off my page, you know. Finally, you know. Wrong. I was wrong. You know, not as many. But, so far I've handed out about 3 or 4 pink slips within the past week. And it's ridiculous. It's like, wow, really, dude? You know, and then somebody started a few people popping off with the All Lives Matter shit. I'm so fucking sick of hearing that. But it's one person I knew. She immediately went into not just the All Lives Matter fucking chestnut, but they started going into black on black crime shit. Like, oh, here we fucking go. Again. Here we go again. And it's like, you know, and the fucked up part is this was from a person who I thought, you know, was smarter than that, because they, you know, they post up a lot of anti-Trump stuff and everything. So, yeah, alright. And they've made some pretty cool posts here and there. We've had interactions that were actually pretty cool and everything, and then all of a sudden she popped off with something like that, and it's like, excuse me? So, it caught me from left field, and it was a little surprising, but, well, it was a little more disappointing than surprising. You know, I'm disappointed, but I really wasn't that surprised. You know, when people fucking turn out to be just say or do racist shit or whatever, it's not really even a surprise anymore. It's like, it's disappointing. Especially if it's somebody I've interacted with and I've had some respect for. And then you say something like that, and all that respect goes right out the fucking window. So yeah, so probably still weeding people out on my Facebook. You know, unfortunately. It could be worse, because I have two profiles. I have my old profile, which I go on sometimes, that I've had basically since Facebook began. You know, I've had that profile. And I still have it because I have a lot of old pictures there and stuff like that. And I share stuff. Sometimes I tag it when I post stuff from my regular profile that I use now. But I know that profile still has like probably a shitload of just problematic people on there. You know? But yeah, it's... And then just everywhere, because a lot of people posting more Black Lives Matter things. You have like at least about like 50 people popping off with that All Lives Matter bullshit. And it's like, I am really sick of hearing it. And actually, you know what's funny? It's like every time somebody brings up stuff like this, then they want to jump on with All Lives Matter. But when people talk about, you know, children in cages, and that's still a thing, by the way. That hasn't went away, by the way. The news has shifted from that right now because it's not, you know, the popular topic to keep people watching the news, but don't think that's done and over with yet, unfortunately. But yeah, when that was happening, All Lives Matter crowd was quiet as fuck. Like, oh well, they're you know, brown kids. Who cares? You know that. So all lives matter except if they're brown, apparently, which is basically what they're saying, really. Because, you know, it's a stupid thing. Like people, you know, people just correct me so that you say like Black Lives Matter or Trans Lives Matter or whatever, etc. No, all lives matter. And it's like, did you just make this about you? I mean, yes. I mean, obviously. Once again, and this is, I've heard hundreds of people going over the same thing, you know. It's like, obviously, all lives matter, but, you know, all lives can't matter until certain lives matter, you know. Until, you know, Black lives matter, until Native lives matter, until Latino lives matter, until fucking queer, trans, until all those lives matter, then you don't have all lives matter. All lives matter is kind of a sham, you know? Because when they say all lives matter, they don't mean all lives matter. That what they're saying when they say it is, shut up, I don't want to hear about it. I only care about me, you know? I only care. It's like all that matters to me is the white lives. Everybody else, I don't care, because that's not my problem, because I'm white and I'm not a person of color. Those are not my problems. I don't have to deal with it. So I don't want to hear about it. That's what they're saying. Every time somebody says or comments on all lives matter, that's all they are saying. That is what they're fucking saying, you know? And God forbid you call them a racist, you know, because then they're gonna lose their shit. Like, oh, well, that's your typical insult, you know. Somebody doesn't agree with you, call someone who doesn't agree with you racist. No, not agreeing with me on things, you know, like pineapple on pizza, or whether a band is good or not, etc. Things like that. That's difference of opinion, you know. When you're questioning whether I should have rights and if I should exist, that's a little different, you know? Look here, cat. Cats are sneezing over there. It's not like going, psst. It's better be cats. Right now, we come back to my house going, psst. Ooh, that would make an interesting video, wouldn't it? Hi. But, yeah. I'm just really sick of these all lives matter crowd fucks. And straight up racist fucks. And, you know, the people who say racist shit, and then they go, well, I can't be racist because I have a black friend, or, you know, I have a black cousin, or my mailman's black, so I can't be, you know, racist. I have a Mexican maid, I can't be racist. I hire Mexican gardeners. You know, it's stupid. You know, and sad thing is, some of these people do have, like, that one, you know, black friend or one friend of color who's like, who probably didn't say anything. They're like, yeah, okay, yeah. Like, it's not racist, is it? You know, you're black. You tell me. Like, you know, because they know if they say something, you know, it's just gonna be pointless, and it's ridiculous. And you know, there was a time in my life I was that black friend. You know, people used me as an example. You know, and it didn't make me feel great. You know, I'm glad I'm not like that anymore. You know, I'm not anybody's example of what a good darky is or whatever the fuck, you know. And I don't want to be that, you know. Just you know, I put up with a lot of shit over the years between doing my growing up, and a lot of it in LA. But a lot of shitty people, a lot of shitty fucking comments, you know, just to keep friends, you know. You know, person who I considered my best friend at the time, you know, for the most part, he was kind of an awful person, and he had his moments. He was actually a decent friend, you know. He actually came through for me a few times, you know, but you know, especially when alcohol was involved, that brought out maybe things that he was suppressing. You know, maybe he really thought he wasn't racist, you know. But in the end, he was, you know. And he regularly used me as an example. He said to me, he's like, I can't be racist. You're my friend, so I can't be racist. Well, we know that's not true now, is it? You know? I've had 2 exes that I dated for a while. No problem having sex with me, but as you know, as soon as they were mad at me, you bet that N-word would pop out. 2 exes did that. Not just 1, 2. And yeah, I still stayed with them. Stupidly. This is what I'm saying, you know. I'm glad I'm not that person. I've grown as a person a lot since then. And I'm still growing. You know. I'm growing from the person I was just like 4 or 5 years ago. That's a whole different video altogether. I'm not going to get into that. I keep things straight to the point here. Back to the original point, you know. It's You're seeing a lot of shit happening right now. Also, a lot of shit is getting done because of these protests. You're like, oh well, what are these protests and rioting? It doesn't solve anything. Actually, it's done a lot because it's the only way you guys will pay attention to us is if we're loud, if we make enough noise, then you listen, you know. We shouldn't have had to ask nicely for all these years. And no one ever listened, no one gave a fucking shit. But as soon as there's protests and there's rioting, there's a little bit of change. Something happens. And I think if we keep this up, it's definitely gonna. I mean, they're already talking about like trying to defund and redo, like rethink how to do the whole police system and everything. And once again, it's something that should have been done years ago, you know, because not police officers don't have to be unique for every situation because they're automatically gung-ho and ready to go and shoot somebody, you know. But yeah, you don't need cops for like wellness checks or to, like, you know, there's a lot of things you don't need cops for. You need cops for what stuff the cops need to be for, you know, because then you have a lot of harassment, you know, and cops need to be trained better too. And you know, you don't just give them a badge and a gun and just shove them out there. Go, here you go, get them bad guys, because they got power and a gun. Pretty much anybody they think is a bad guy is a bad guy to them. Also, things weren't bad enough already with the police brutality and the fucking idiot racists and the militias going to fucking protests as well, fucking armed. There's been about 5 black people lynched. It's 2020 and we're still being lynched, but they're saying they're suicides. There's even one, I'm not sure if it was somebody political or if it was a newscaster. I don't remember. I have to find the actual article or whoever said it, but basically they were saying that these people committed suicide basically in order to just basically start a race war. Like, are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious? Who is going to fucking do that? So this is insane. "2020, guys." So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.